guys, this is a bonus video just because I was honored to do a collab with NathanDuceTV, and I'm going to share that with you guys today. If you haven't, definitely go and check out his amazing channel. He just started a horror channel and it is just awesome. You definitely need to go check it out. I'll leave his link in the description box below, so go by and show your love and support and check out the video that I was honored to be a part of.
I used to work as a 911 operator in a relatively large metro area. One night, at about 3 AM, I answered a call from an elderly lady who said she didn't feel too good. I tried to get more information about what was wrong. Chest pain, trouble breathing, headache, is she diabetic, all that kind of stuff. She gave me her address and phone number and said no one else was home, but the front door was unlocked. I turned the call out as general illness and kept trying to get more details. No matter what else I asked about what was wrong, all she would say is, "I just don't feel good. Can you send someone to help me?" After a few minutes she said, "I'm going to put the phone down for a minute. I need to go to the bathroom." I tried to get her to stay on the line with me. Told her she can do whatever she needs to get ready, but I'd like to be able to stay in contact in case there's a problem. She said, "I'm going to put the phone down. I'll just be a minute." And that was it. I stayed on the line and asked her every so often, but got no reply. A couple of minutes passed, then the fire department called on scene, so I just disconnected, and I didn't think about it much. I told them the caller advised the front door was unlocked and she was in the bathroom. A couple of more minutes and one of the firefighters called over the air with a weird tone and said, "Dispatch, how exactly was this call received?" I told him the call was first party from the patient's home phone approximately 8 minutes ago. He didn't respond over the air, but called the desk from his cell phone, which usually only happens when something weird is going on that they don't want to broadcast, since anyone can listen to the radios. On the phone he said, "Are you sure this wasn't a third party call from a family member or something?" I said, "Negative. Caller advised, I don't feel good," and said no one else was home. So to the best of my knowledge, the caller is the patient. "Have you made contact?" He said, "Yeah. She was in the bathroom like you said, but she's probably been dead for about 12 hours. We're going to need a deputy here." Afterwards we pulled the tapes of the radio and the phone calls and checked the timestamps, address, phone number. I went over everything a few times to see if I missed something. I called them back in the morning after the shift to see if they had any more information, but they were just as weirded out as we were. The phone was still in the living room, and the patient was dead in the bathroom. To start, here is a bit of context to help things more easier to understand. My name is Jason, and I was born in 1990. I have been raised and currently reside in Jamaica, a small island in the Caribbean. From as far back as I can remember, I have had the ability to see entities if they reside or haunt the particular place I visit or live. My parents have some idea of my ability, but I don't tell them everything because they worry too much about me as it is. The first significant experience I had, other than seeing the occasional spirit here and there, was when I was about 13 or 14 years old. I was in high school and lived with my parents and younger brother. One Friday evening in June 2003 or 2004, I was allowed to spend the night at my grandparents' house. I loved staying with them because they would give me anything I asked for, like ice cream or candy, and they didn't dictate a bedtime. It was a normal night. I watched TV for hours and hours, then decided I would play some games on my Game Boy Advance. I was doing just that in my room from 10:30 PM. Now, from about May until September in Jamaica is seriously hot, like 34 degrees Celsius in the days and 30 at night. Inside the house is even hotter, and we have no air conditioning. I was playing my game at about 1:30 AM, and the room went from seriously hot to freezing in almost an instant. My only thought was, oh shit, something's happening. I started hearing footsteps in the hallway outside my bedroom, so I called out to see if it was my grandparents, and I saw them sleeping. I was going back to my room when I heard the footsteps get heavier and louder. I jumped myself into bed and hid under my covers. Not 10 seconds later, my closed bedroom door opens by itself, and in walks a man. He was about 6 feet 6 inches or taller, and had on a brown suit, brown dress shoes, and a matching brimmed hat. The thing is, he wasn't a person really. He was sort of see-through, and his face, it was normal 1 second, and the next it would be contorted and twisted in unnatural ways. His eyes were the darkest black. He noticed me as I noticed him, and he started to walk towards the side of my bed. Now, at this point I wasn't really religious, but my dad was. He had taught me that if I was ever afraid, to recite this palm. I think it was Palm 93. It was all I could think to do, and he was obviously repulsed but also becoming enraged. His eyes glowed with a dark fire, and his mouth turned into an impossibly wide frown to where you could see jagged, pointed, dirty, horrid teeth, if you could even call them that. They looked like rows of shark's teeth, only longer and uneven. As I prayed the palm, he backed away inch by inch. The lights in my room flicked on, and he was just gone. It was my grandmother. She had heard me and came in to see what all the noise was about. I had told her everything, and we got the house blessed by a person from our church. This was by no means my only encounter with the paranormal. This one was mild compared to the other experiences I've had.
When I was a child, I was scared of the dark. I swore to my mother I heard voices in it. They were not evil, but they were not familiar, and so they scared me. It was not uncommon in the middle of the night for me to wake up and hear whispers, as I would call them when asking my mom. She figured they were just bumps in the night and typical kids' nightmare material. I tried often to explain to her there was more than that they sounded different from one another, the way people's voices do. On some nights, I would get so scared from these whispers that I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. It was an added bonus that the bathroom was directly outside of her bedroom door for my late-night tinkles. I should add at this point that when walking out into the hall to go to the bathroom, you look directly down the stairs that would lead you into my living room on the first floor, as my mom's bedroom was on the second floor. On one such night, around Christmas, I awoke and felt the need to relieve myself. I walked out from the door and distinctly heard the phrase, "Look!" And to my astonishment, a red light, almost like a spotlight, was cast upon the wall at the very bottom of the stairs. The light had no other source, it was by itself, and I was transfixed by it. Being a little kid, and it only being a few days from Christmas, I knew what this light was. It was Santa! How else could he get into my house to know I was being a good boy? I was so excited I began walking down the stairs to greet him, picking up my pace after the second step as it began to creep off the wall and fade into the darkness of my living room. That's when I heard him. A very strong, masculine voice, different from the first. Not at all like my father's. Not to say he isn't masculine, it was just distinctly different. It said, "Stop, right now, go back up those stairs." I listened, turned around, and what happened next I am not sure I would believe if someone had told me the same story. After reaching the top of the stairs, I heard a very loud crash that sent me running back to my mother's bed, where I jumped straight under the covers and stayed there the whole night.